across Texas. The issue is.
I'm Rudy Koski in Austin.
I'm Stephen Dial in Dallas.
I'm Greg Krugen in Houston, and this is Texas, the issue is.
Hey, the solar eclipse Monday is not just an astronomical event. In a way, it's also like a sign from a Greek tragedy of impending political conflict. You know, we are entering the final push to the May runoff elections. Fallout from what began as a political revenge tour regarding school choice by Governor Greg Abbott. Now, I spoke to James Henson with the Texas Politics Project at the University of Texas about how polling on that hot button issue is not as clear-cut as the governor is trying to sell it, and how choice now may not be the deciding factor in May.
What we're seeing is an interesting kind of split screen in this final round of the primaries, in which vouchers and school choice are motivating a lot of the strategy and a lot of the targeting in Republican primaries, but we're not seeing it show up, the issue show up as consistently in advertising or in the discussion, because in a Republican primary, there is one issue that is dominant right now, and that's border security. So there's an interesting disconnect between the motivation and what we're actually seeing play out on the ground.
The water's really muddy here. And what one person defines border security or school choice, another person says, no, that's not what it is.
What we found is that if you simply ask people, do you support or oppose establishing, and you just throw all the language in a voucher, ESA, or other school choice program in Texas, you find narrow, majority of support, but pretty clear majority support. You get 52% in favor and 27% opposing. But if you phrase the question as, do you support or oppose redirecting state tax revenue to help parents pay for private school costs, the support goes down, and more importantly, the opposition really goes up. But on the other hand, when you ask people, what is the most important problem facing the state, or even more specifically, as we did in February, what issues are really on your mind when you're going to cast your vote in a legislative primary election, school choice programs don't move the needle, and that includes among Republicans. We gave people an open-ended question and asked them, essentially, what one or two issues are most important to you when you go to cast a vote in a legislative primary? And among people that said they were planning on voting in the primary, no Democrats said school choice. Only 2% of Republicans said school choice. And by comparison, well more than 60% of Republicans said immigration and border security. All of which explains to you why, if you look at most of the media buys, both on television and on social media, the issue that seems to be central to Republican campaigns, and we're seeing it right at this very moment in the runoff for Speaker Dave Phelan's seat, is immigration and border security. And Republicans accusing their opponents of being soft on border security. That's not an accident. That is what moves Republican voters.
As we move forward, does school choice pick back up, or has it lost its luster? Has it lost its sting? Or does it morph into something else?
Given the way that the first round of the primaries turned out and whatever happens in the runoffs, frankly, I fully expect that, this issue will be back in the next session and coming up in less than a year, believe it or not. And, the issue is not going to go away, mainly because I think that, Republican leaders know that there are major players at the elite level of the party, both in the state and outside the state, who are deeply invested in this.
Do you expect a dud in May in regards to turnout because everything is so muddy right now?
Runoff elections are always very low turnout affairs. While we might see some marginal increase in that, I don't expect any turnout records in these races. The one exception might be Dave Phelan's race.
Pretty interesting there. Now, the polling by Henson's team and the strategy on the campaign trail makes me think of a word used by a character in the play, The Music Man. That word, phraseology. So, Greg, what's your word?
Rudy, my word is relentless.
Stephen, take us to the break with the word.
Breaking the rules, moving target.
And with that, the Texas trio will be back to discuss the run-up to the runoffs. The final push to the May primary runoff elections underway with 28 Republican and 16 Democrat races still in play. For the GOP candidates, the primary season was initially billed as a referendum on school choice and Ken Paxton's impeachment. But polling indicates the big issue for voters is the border. So, Greg, that's not stopping the governor from describing the GOP runoffs as an unmistakable message for school choice, right?
Yeah, Rudy, given the primary outcome and the additional House votes the governor has already racked up, it's a far cry from the unmistakable repudiation of school choice, which is how this fight was characterized during last year's regular and special sessions. That said, Henson's polling is consistent with other surveys which show a majority of all Texans side with the governor on this issue. Notice I didn't say Republicans because the pro-voucher plurality there is even more substantial. All of that aside, Abbott has successfully fashioned himself into a national hero among both conservative and moderate Americans for his high-profile open warfare with President Biden over the disastrous border policy. And it's my belief Republican runoff voters simply won't abandon the governor's chosen candidates over their misgivings or second thoughts on the choice issue.
Yeah, good take there. Now, I used the word phraseology earlier because of the murky campaign rhetoric and political spin being used by many of the nasty Republican races that are going on. You know, Stephen, incumbents with clear records voting for increasing border funding, they've been called soft on the border in the primary by PACs, some of them aligned with school choice. So are you seeing that now in the runoffs going on in North Texas?
Definitely seeing that, and it's a bit confusing because either you voted for this huge border package and voted for these border laws that are now being tried in the appeals court and the Supreme Court, or you didn't. And so I don't understand why some Republicans are picking on Republicans for doing exactly what they did and calling them soft. Hey, look, I use the word moving target because people that are in these runoffs, some of these incumbents that are on their toes, I mean, the people who are opposing them are just trying to throw everything at them to see what sticks.
Yeah, and speaking of, all political eyes are certainly on the runoff involving Speaker Dade Phelan. Greg, what other runoffs are you watching, and is school choice even being mentioned in those right now?
Rudy, this may well surprise you, but I'm actually watching a Democratic runoff here in Houston where veteran House member Sean Theory has been targeted for excommunication by the Democratic left because she voted with Republicans on an issue of deep personal principle, her opposition to gender-affirming medication and surgery for Texans under the age of 18. Now, frankly, you would struggle to find a Democratic lawmaker more steadfastly loyal to the party platform than Theory, and yet because of her deviation on a single issue, she is under genuine threat of being purged. So, fellas, clearly the radical philosophy of absolute adherence to extreme doctrine is cutting both ways.
Stephen, what races are you tracking right now?
Oh, man, it has to be Justin Holland facing off against former Donald Trump spokesperson Katrina Pearson. Justin Holland is in a weird position right now because, yeah, he's a Republican, but he voted against vouchers, so that makes him an enemy of Governor Abbott, and he voted to impeach Ken Paxton, which makes him an enemy of Paxton. He has two targets at him. It's going to be interesting to see if he survives.
Yeah, and, you know, as with everything, the devil is certainly in the details, but, you know, why should you have details in politics? All right, so we're going to wrap this up, stop it here. You can see the interview that we just had and any of our other past interviews by going to our YouTube pages.
And visit our social media sites to continue the conversation.
There always seems to be an issue in Texas, and next week we'll have another one. So make sure to join us, and remember to let us know what you think the issue is.